The LEGO Star Wars The Bad Batch set is a great set, and while it does come with a lot of beautiful things, it is very flawed. Now in today's video, I am going to be discussing how to fix the LEGO Star Wars The Bad Batch shuttle minifigures that are down there. And in part 2, we are going to be discussing how you can fix the set, because there are some great improvs that I've made to this, and I am so excited to get into it all. But first, I am going to ask you all to smash the like button, and also, some of these ideas have been taken from, other LEGO community members, and I wanted to compile them all into a list, and, I think these are the best, most practical, and easy to do versions, and I want to give a huge credit to all of those guys. I will leave a link to their channel in the description. They are all fantastic creators. With that said, we are going to get right on into it, and also a huge thank you to people who provided some parts for this video, and I will leave links to all the places you could get the exclusive parts down in the description below. But with that said, let's get into the minifigs. Now, the first minifigure we have here is Hunter. Now, a few minor things you'll notice that, I'm just not a huge fan of, is namely, he just feels like he's seriously lacking in arm printing. The helmet isn't, not the best, but, we can work with it, as well as some problem with the hair. So we are also going to get into all of that. So let's pull up some parts. So the first thing I actually want to do is we're going to kind of be making him into a second figure, but first I do want to take a look at the main one if you want to do one. So first off, you take off this head right away if you feel like it, and you are going to be taking this little brick built thing. So what I did with this type of piece, I essentially took the back flame trooper piece, or the one used on the new Imperial mortar trooper. I took this little, up piece, I'm not exactly sure what this is called, and then this little grate piece, and I just made that into a simple backpack. It looked pretty good. I thought it was good. You guys know I am not a fan of the way they did the backpacks, where they just printed them on. So I think this is a good solution to that. And then obviously the knife is just not good on this figure. So a suggestion I have for a lot of people is, just get a custom knife. They sell them on lots of the custom websites. I do not know where I got this one, but it actually looks really cool and really, really good. Now, the first thing you could also do is give him this weapon. This is his, commando type rifle piece. It is a cool piece. I believe I did get this one from Brick Mania at Brick Fair recently, which was pretty cool, and I really do like this one. And I know you guys are wondering about the guy in the back, so we'll get into that in a second. But first off, if you do want to actually add to the arm printing, all you have to do is get these Firestar Toys arms, and let me actually get those on. So here he is with his blaster, obviously sick as ever. You will notice, obviously, if you move it down, he does come with these beautiful Firestar Toys arms. I will try to zoom in the best I can on those. So you will notice this absolutely stunning arm printing on each side. It really accentuates the character and makes them feel better, and we will be using these on all of the figures there from Firestar Toys. I'll leave a link in the description for those. Now I want to show you how to basically double this figure into a second Hunter that you could use in other instances. Let's get into that. Now the first thing, sadly, you have to do with this guy is you have to take off his headpiece. I recommend, subbing it in for, just some plain black headpiece if you want to make another custom head for Hunter, or just throw in another clone head, then that is fine. And then what I need you to do is get this guy. Now, this guy, who those who don't know, is Bail Organa. He is from the Tantive 4, which is obviously very cool, and you need to basically take off most of his clothes, which stinks, or most of his capes and stuff. And a really simple thing you could do is simply put on Hunter's head. And like so, you have a second Hunter. So you could basically put on the hairpiece, and like so, you have Hunter. You could even give him a knife. And if you want to switch out the pants, you really can. Let me focus on that. But here's the big thing. So a thing I would strongly recommend for something like this is switching out the hairpiece from the LEGO one to the one from the Loki CMF. Now, this is also a thing you could do with the regular Hunter on. I've just tried it. It does not work out well with his backpack, and I forgot I took off his head. But I think this hairpiece looks phenomenal for a Hunter hair, and it really, makes the band feel better. I don't know how anyone hasn't thought of this, or maybe they have and I just haven't seen it. And I think it looks really great. I'd strongly recommend this. And again, you don't necessarily have to use this specific torso. You can use pretty much anything that works with, what is fine for you. I just think this one personally works the best. This was actually the idea of SW Bricks and Figs. But with that said, those are my Hunter set ideas. So let's move next up into Wrecker. So next up is my guy, Wrecker, from the Bad Batch. Obviously, very cool character, very goofy and clumsy. Great little figure we got here. You know, I love the face print. Now, the first thing you need to do is take off this entire shoulder armor, and you are going to want to replace the arms, which I'm going to do right off camera because it takes a second to do. So as you can see, he comes with this beautiful arm printing again from Firestar, and the way basically is that, and the thing that is still weird about this minifigure is you turn around and it still comes with a printed on backpack, even though it is being covered by this piece. Now, a way to fix this, I created another build for record. Now, what I did is I took approximately 2 of this piece right here, if you see that right there, and this is, you know, doubled up. Basically, I have one facing down, one facing up, and they kind of locked with each other, and then you put a little, you know, great piece, and this fits perfectly, because you get to basically put this right on Wrecker, and it feels like it fits. It doesn't feel too oversized, it's not entirely intrusive, and yes, it does come in black. I probably could have done it in gray. I just thought, you know, this was the only color I had, and this worked. And there you have Wrecker, obviously. Now, another thing is his weapon is the stupidest looking thing I've ever seen in my life. So again, we're going to get another one of those weapons. I actually bought 2 of these, like the ones that Hunter had. Actually, it goes in this hand. And like with that, with the arm printing, looks fantastic. Firestar actually was smart. They didn't really print too much on the top where the armor is covering it. But you'll notice as it moves down, you still get a load of that covered, which is kind of great and was really ingenious on their part. I've seen some other designs. I'll leave a picture of that SW Brix Figs did, of like a, you know, special custom Wrecker they did, but I didn't have all the pieces for it, so I could not do it. But I think this turned out really, really well. Now let's move into the next one. Now, Tech is quite a character, and by character I mean he only has one personality trait and no other character development in the show, which kind of stinks. But either way, this is the Tech minifigure, and there are some, you know, complaints I've seen about this one, namely the helmet being just oversized, which it is, but I don't mind too much about that. You also do get a decent backpack build and all that, but the first thing I obviously like to fix, again, is the arm printing. And as you can tell, the arm printing already makes a pretty immense difference. I think they did a great job over at Firestar with this one, and it just looks fantastic. But obviously, it still feels like Tech is missing some stuff. So a thing, obviously, you know, first off, I want to take off this helmet because it does make him look a little goofy. So, you know, I mean, even look at that. That looks really, really good. So 2 things you could do. One, I think, honestly, just using his backpack print as another one of his data tabs looks really good. I mean, look at the back of it. It kind of looks like a data tab, and they do give that extra piece in the set. So I'd recommend everyone strongly do that type of a thing, and it looks great, you know, because he's always on that. I don't know why they didn't include that in the set, and it matches his color. It looks good. You could technically use like some sort of blue hologram piece, but, you know, I just don't think that would work. And another thing, obviously, is he does dual wield Captain Rex's DC pistols. Now, these are Clone Army Customs. You get them pretty much any custom blaster site. I obviously like Clone Army Customs the best because I believe they are the best size for figures. I think, you know, they don't look overly huge. But you know, we'll have a few others to display here. And that looks great, obviously. Again, he does already come with a backpack, so I will leave that on. Some people, you know, will edit it around, you know, fix it up a little bit, but I think it works just fine, you know, for your needs. And it really, the arm printing, I think, is the most extenuating feature that really changes him up, and then the pistols, and then again, that is always a good holo pad that you could use. I'd strongly recommend it. But that is my guy Tech. He looks really, really good. I think that I'm gonna pat myself on the back. I think I nailed this one. Now I want to get into the one I'm most excited about, and this is Echo. Now listen, guys, Echo is one of my favorite characters from the Bad Batch, not because of his role in the show, but just because of, you know, the sentimental value of him coming out of the Clone Wars. This minifigure, I feel like LEGO did a serious disservice to for a number of reasons. You know, moving up, I will mention the, you know, how his cape is basically printed on the torso. Now, someone actually mentioned this is partially because he could sit down on his speeder bike because of this, which made sense to me, but I still would have preferred, you know, a cape that you could have removed or whatever. And then, you know, you just move around. He has like a hand, like he should have had some sort of special arm. They just didn't feel like they nailed the at least helmet piece. And, you know, again, the printed on backpacks are really never the best. Now, Firestar Toys has made some arm printing options. Obviously, you don't only technically have to use one of these because he does come with some pretty great arm printing on the other arm, but I am going to use both just for the sake of it, and also the other arm looks a little more detailed from Firestar, so let me pop those on real quick. Now, here's your Echo minifigure with arm printing. I think it looks great. You turn it around, that just really accentuates the figure, and, you know, we'll get into loads of stuff in a second, but first I just wanted to appreciate that. Now, a big thing, and this is the hand. People have been complaining about the hand left and right. You've seen kind of a lot of solutions, like from, you know, adding different, you know, weird parts, and it just being a whole confusing, like buying parts online, and I actually have a solution. Now, if you have the this gas pump piece, which is kind of an easy piece. It shows up in a lot of city sets. Basically what I did is I was just experimenting and I cut off this part. So if you're like, you don't like cutting up Lego, this may not be for you. But I figured it was worth it because I am going to be using Echo way more than this gas pump. Now this part, the nozzle here, or the little area that, you know, would go into the car, fits perfectly within the hand of a minifigure. And it coincidentally just goes out just like this. So you get a great looking Echo hand that matches really well and goes really well with the whole thing. It could go in a little bit, not very much, but it certainly is great, and you, again, can always take it out. You don't have to worry about popping arms in and out like with a lot of other things. And, you know, let's get into the rest of this stuff, because I think that is certainly one of my favorite features, and it's certainly the most fun to play around with. I like going around with, like, my battle droid and just go, and it's just a fun little feature. I wish they did something with it with Lego. Now, the next thing is the cape. Now, my buddies over at the Cape Cantina actually provided this, so huge thank you to my boy Freshie for providing this. But they made a full-on accurate Echo cape. It is pretty simplistic, but it works well, and all you have to do to apply this one, and again, I'll leave a link in the description. I even have a code there, so, you know, if you want to save some money when you buy this, it's very cheap, especially in the United States. Shipping is basically the cost of what it takes to buy a stamp. So if you want to get this for like $3, and it goes right over where the printing is, and my gosh, it makes him feel so much cooler. But wait, we are not done yet. First off, you need to give him a blaster, obviously. So here is his blaster, which looks great. Oh my gosh, guys, Echo is looking fantastic. And then finally, you can obviously pop on this backpack here. Now, what I did for the backpack, obviously, it comes with the same clip as Echo's, and I just gave him this basic black one. I didn't want to go too crazy with it. I was not getting, you know, I'm not great with backpacks, and I want to do something accurate, you know, like Lego would still like it. And I feel like they probably would have done a darker, you know, backpack piece, because that does stand out a little bit. And it does make him a little taller. So I'll have to zoom out a little bit. But by the way, the face print, they nailed the head print with Echo. I will say that. They really did a good job with that. But anyway, we pop on the helmet, and my gosh, this minifigure is looking insane. I love the way the hand, oh my gosh, the hand just looks awesome. I just love that. You could have him running, and oh my gosh, these figures, once you detail him up a little bit, they look just so neat. Now let's get into my boy Crosshair. Now, Crosshair is a pretty mixed bag of a figure, and the reason I say that is because he's technically the wrong color. And also, a lot of people kind of wanted to see his regular appearance, and then, you know, we could have gotten the Imperial one at a later date. And we might cover that in another video. I personally don't own any, you know, decaled or, you know, printed version of Crosshair yet. When CAC does one, I'm sure I'll pick one up. But there are a lot of problems with this. Obviously, first off being the backpack. And the arms. So let's get both of those problems solved at once. I'll be right back. Actually, before I put on the backpack, I just wanted you guys to see him with the arm printing. He's a darker figure, but here he is. Obviously, it looks cooler, but again, you need that backpack. So what I did is I got a Clone Army Customs black backpack. These things are like $1, which is nothing. And I know there's some people that will like make special ones with clips and stuff, and I think that's perfectly great too. But I think this overall just works better. And you know, you put on the face, obviously, or the helmet, and it looks great. I think it looks good. Now, a blaster I got for him is a Brick Arms blaster I got right here. That is his technically accurate blaster. So I will put that in his hands. Actually, you know, it's better. Personally, I recommend if you hold it upside down in the hands, because then you can like kind of, you know, arm it properly and have it on a curve and an angle. And that looks cool. And another thing is, you know, there's just a small thing, that he did lose his hair halfway through the season, but in the first half he did have hair. So you could get a piece like this. I don't know if they have the slicked back style hair, but I think this just adds another little feature to him. If you want to make that, then feel free, go ahead, and you know, if you want to put him in a jumpsuit. Now finally, I'm going to be showing you how to make Omega. So here is my interpretation of Omega, obviously, until Lego releases one, which eventually they will. Now, I actually did have one in a more pale color, so I'll show you guys what that looked like. Now, this is actually her with the pale skin type. I used Anna's head from the Frozen Lego CMF. Obviously, I'll get into the details in a second. But the big thing that is, obviously, I want to get that more accurate look. And technically, with this one, it looks better with the Sheev Palpatine hair. But here, I'll show you guys what the other one looks like. So at first, I actually did experiment with the Rowan Freemaker head, because it's the right skin tone. So if that's something you're into, that looks good. But it looks a little too, you know, masculine, like a small boy, for it to be Omega. So I scrapped that idea, and I thought, oh, I have that one character, Jasmine, obviously from the Disney CMF2. And I thought that looked a little ridiculous, especially when you use this hairpiece. That looks just like stupid. It looks like a grown woman with a small body. But once you put this hair on, it doesn't look too bad, which is why I kind of settled on this one, and I think it looks, you know, the best out of all of them. Now, the way it was made, obviously, we use the short midi red legs, or the black legs. We get some red arms, which are pretty simplistic, and I use the Bespin, you know, pilot, I believe, torso, which works well, I think. I like it. You know, you could technically twist it around if you want, if that's something you're into. And, you know, there's a lot of opportunity you could do with that. You can get a custom one. Here is her head, obviously, and you cannot do it with the eyebrows. Oh my gosh, that is the devil. You need to cover those up. Which is why I'm using the Luke Skywalker hairpiece. Now, if you want to make her bow and arrow, what I did is I got 2 of these gold clips, as well as this piece. This actually did come in the Bad Batch shuttle. There was an extra piece, which is where I got the idea. So first you push one all the way down, and then you barely push one in, so it's kind of an illegal technique. And then basically you can get Omega here to kind of grab it with her hand, like so, and you need to kind of really finesse it. It's a little bit of a process. And then you just get this one up here, and you have her main bow. And then another thing you could do is take the Mace Windu lightsaber piece in purple, or I guess if there's a pink one, you could do that too. And then you can kind of have her aim it wherever you would like her to shoot. And I think that turned out really well, and if you want to, you know, put it on her back, you could do whatever you want in that regard, and it is still pretty cool. And finally, here is the Gonk Droid, a beautiful creature that needs 0 improvement because it is simply a Gonk Droid. I also have merch for the Gonk Droid, by the way. Check out republicstuds.shop. Yay, we did it! We finished customizing all of the Bad Batch minifigures and made a few more in the form of Hunter and Omega. And by the way, in part 2, look out for a custom build of AZ13, whatever his name is, and that is going to look absolutely epic, and I'm really hyped for that one. So tell me, guys, if you enjoyed this little tutorial on how to make custom Bad Batch characters. Again, huge thank you to all the people who gave me ideas, especially Star Wars Bricks and Figs. And I also want to remind you again, we are going to be having a part 2 on how to customize this set and these speeders. So with that said, I will see you guys all in the next one. Remember to peace out and stay awesome.